Hello and Assalamu alaikum viewers. This is your host Farhan Iqbal and you're watching Newspoint. So in today's video we will talk about the next draw. We will look at the numbers. Then as always I will share my prediction towards the end that what kind of draw it would be. I believe there would be a draw next Wednesday because now we are in a pretty much routine that we are seeing draws every 2 weeks. So we need to look at the numbers and then see that if the FSW draw happens, then what can be the cutoff. And then if again a PNP CEC draw happens, then what can be the cutoff potentially in the CEC only draw. For the PNP draw, we're normally not concerned with the cutoffs because anybody who has PNP, it's just a matter of the draw that whenever the draw happens, they get the ITAs right away. Before we look at the data, if you still haven't subscribed our channel, consider subscribing our channel so that you never miss any of the updates. So over here we have data all the way from whenever we started making videos to this latest draw which happened on 16th April. And we will take a look at how many people are there in each range. Towards the end of the video, I will share my thoughts that what I believe what kind of next draw could be. So let's take a look at the data. So the PNP range, which is 601 to 1200, we had 236 people. And as I mentioned, this number is actually normally coming down because if they are CEC and they are able to get ITA with scores of 410, 420, 430s, 440s, then many people, they would not spend the extra money to get the provincial nomination. So earlier this number used to be like 400s, 450 when only FSW draws were happening, but now this has come down to 200s for the last 2-3 draws. Then 501 to 600 in this category, a lot of FSW people are waiting from a long time because the draw has not happened. So this number is 1475, an increase of 111. So we can see that every 2 weeks about 100 people are applying in this category, and mostly they are non-CEC, otherwise their numbers would have been reducing. And then 491 to 500, over here also most likely lots of non-CEC people are waiting because the FSW draw has not happened for a very long time. So over here we have 888, which is 69 higher than the last 2 weeks. So in this two category, we can say about 150, 170 people are applying every 2 weeks who are non-CEC, because CEC, how many are getting ITS, they are getting out. So like anybody who is CEC and they got the ITA, that number is not included here. So these 170 or 180 people are non-CEC people only. It's safe to assume. 481 to 490, again a high scoring category, 2545 people here, an increase of 290. And then 471 to 480, which is probably one of the biggest category in all of these numbers, 7,000 people in here, an increase of 687. So if we just look at this, it means that only 1,000 people who had a score of 471 and higher and who were non-CEC applied in last 2 weeks, because anybody who was CEC who applied between this and this, they would have been taken out. So this is actually good because less people are applying at this time who are non-CEC. There are a lot of factors to it, like one is that people know that the draws are not happening, so people are not probably in a rush unless their score is very high, because if somebody scores in 470, they probably have to wait a little bit even if the FSW draws resume right now. So now looking at these numbers, we have over 12,000 people who have a score of 471 and higher. So even if the FSW draw resume from this next Wednesday, and obviously this number would have at least increased by 1,000 or so, because lots of new people would have been applying who have PNP and CEC and non-CEC as well. So about 13 to 14,000 people would be there if the draw happens next week. So even if 10,000 ITAs are issued, which is not very likely because we are seeing 5 to 6,000 ITAs. So even if 10,000 ITAs are issued, the cutoff would be at least 472, 474 maybe. And if 5,000 to 6,000 ITAs are issued, then we can see that in this range only, there are 5,100 people. So 5,000 to 6,000 ITAs are issued, then the cutoff would be around 481 or 482. Depending upon how many new people are applying. I would say 481, 482 would be the cutoff if 5,000 ITAs are issued. So the cutoff for next draw could be 474 to 484, depending upon how many ITAs are issued. If 5,000 ITS, then 484, and if 10,000 ITS, then 474. For each 1,000 ITS, I would say that you can decrease it by 2. So if it is 6,000, then it could be 482. If it is 7,000, then it could be 480s, and so on and so forth. Now we come to the next category, which is interesting for those people who are in CEC. So 461 to 470, about 9,800 people, 300 more than what we saw last time. 451 to 460, 9,700 people, almost similar to what we saw last time. 441 to 450, 8,400 people, actually a decrease because 432 was the cutoff. So, or 447 was the cutoff when this data was published in this draw. So people would have been taken out from this range. They got ITAs. And then 431 to 440, number was 8,861, which is less than what we saw here. And since the second last draw was 432, lots of people would have been taken out from this category as well. And then 421 to 430, about 7,600 people are here. And then 411 to 420, 8,900 people are there. So from these two categories, lots of people would have been taken out because the last draw was 417. So anybody who was in CEC and who had a score of 418 and above, they have been taken out. So above this number, almost no CEC exists, only those ones who will be creating their profiles in the past 2 weeks. And over here, we have some CEC people who have a score of maybe 411 to 417. I have done some maths here just like the last time. Total number of people who are below 420 is 94,000 before that big CEC draw happened. And immediately after that, since I mentioned lots of people rushed and they created their profile, so the number of people who had a score of 420 actually increased. Otherwise, we were seeing that not many people were creating profiles in this range. So now after this latest draw, below 420, we have 109,000, about 15,000 more than what used to be there till that big express entry draw happened. And it's very safe to assume that majority of these people are actually CEC because non-CEC people cannot think of an ITA with these kind of scores. So to narrow it down further, between 400 and 420, before that big express entry draw happened, there were 17,000 people. Immediately after that, there were 16,000 people. And right now, there are about 19,000 people. So from here till here, I would say roughly 2,000 people have created their profiles, who are majority of them are CEC because non-CEC people cannot think of an ITA with these scores. If we say that about 2,500 people would be taken out of the pool from this range, and then other 2,500 would be those who have a score of 418 and higher and who are in CEC and who will be creating their profile from the last draw till this Wednesday or this Thursday, whenever the CEC draw happens. So based off that, I believe the cutoff can be 400 to 407. This depends how many ITAs are issued. If 6,000 ITAs are issued, then it would be very close to 400. And if 5,000 ITAs are issued, then it would be close to 407. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Until next time, this is your host Farhan Iqbal signing off. Assalamu alaikum.